I'm Killing All Day, and I'm from Torrance, California. My name's definitely cooler than Blood Trails. I think I have the best name in this competition, hands down. Yeah, I think Dog has a good username because it's so simple, and I respect Dog as a username, and as a player, of course, and as a streamer, I guess, and as a human being, too. Dog's pretty cool.
What's something interesting about you that other people might not know?
Can we come back to this? I'm not interesting. I'm really happy I have people following me and wanting me to win. To win this tournament would just be fulfilling all the hard work I've put in for the last couple of years. 3 years with no wins. I mean, you gotta start thinking you suck. Honestly, I thought I sucked for a while. I'm just happy my parents don't think I suck anymore. They're really excited for me because they've all been following me for like years now, playing competitively, but I've never really won anything like this before, so they're like, wow, you finally did it.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Summer Championship. You can join in on the conversation on social media by using that hashtag right in front of your face. Hashtag HCT Summer. Or
right in front of your face.
I think one person tweeted at me yesterday with my HCT Summer Snack Time with TJ hashtag.
I think it was 3 because I went and checked.
Okay. Or I searched it, so maybe 2 people typed it wrong and 1 person typed it right, but it's still there. If you guys want to use it, just saying.
It expires after this weekend, though. It'll no longer be a hashtag after that.
That's right, but let's get into game number 2 between Killing All Day and Jinsoo. And Killing All Day going to rip off the Band-Aid.
Yeah, I mean, this really is kind of how the motion feels, where this matchup is just sometimes going to hurt.
It's a lot of times going to hurt.
Yeah, a lot of times. And for Killing All Day, it is about sticking an early threat as quickly as possible. You know, I actually played a couple games of this matchup with Purple, and it was against Odd Rogue, which Odd Rogue I think is a bit of a tougher matchup because the damage push comes in so much sooner, but there were so many spots where it just looked like you had a great Hellfire turn. Purple's like, nah, play the Mountain Giant. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? You're just going to die. But then you would look at the game a couple turns later, and you'd be like, yeah, well, the Mountain Giant was just better. You trade and you race them. I think for Killing All Day, it's important to be able to clear stuff off, but it's important to be able to race too, because as longer the game goes, I think the more favorable it is for Jinsoo. You're looking at Vile Spines being huge tempo swings, Gadgets and Auctioneer getting unlocked at some point, with Killen having to invest almost his entire mana pool to be able to answer it.
Sap existing.
Exactly. So for Killing All Day, I think it's about initiating a race scenario where he frankly just gets kind of lucky to win. That Jinsoo doesn't have a big tempo play and doesn't have a lot of damage modifiers.
Yeah.
For Jinsoo, though, it's just beat him up.
Killing All Day is on the coin, though, and I think that's a big deal because coin Vile Spine Slayer is the one card that you don't want to see. Also, Mountain Giant. Love seeing that. Mostly denying it from Jinsoo, though. And those are some good threats early on for Killing All Day.
It is. I will say that I'm a little bit surprised that Killen chose to keep a Doomsayer in the matchup because, I mean, pretty much the thing you want to do every single time is land that turn 3 Mountain Giant. That's the big play.
Yeah, but if they Hinge Clan Thug and followed up with a Sap.
If they Hinge Clan Thug you on turn 3 and Doomsayer's your answer, that's bad news.
Mountain Giant's your answer.
Yes, Mountain Giant's the answer. That's my entire point. I think the Doomsayer keep is questionable. I can see why you would do it, but me personally, I'm not a fan.
The end is coming!
So he just wants to prevent the Hench Clan Thug. That was his reasoning for keeping this. So he's going to delay the Giant program and look for something else. Or attempt to, rather.
Yeah.
I think it'll be successful.
There's another way you can play this matchup by trying to play your little threats first.
How's that worked out for you so far?
I'm usually playing this matchup from the Miracle Rogue side. So I'll be Jinsoo in this matchup.
So how has that worked when they played their little stuff first?
I just beat them every time. But even when they play their big stuff first, I usually beat them every time also. But the times that I lose from the perspective of the Miracle Rogue is the times that a Giant comes down and I play an SI7 HP.
Yeah.
Those are the times that I lose.
Yeah, I agree. If you're going to go to the Doomsayer point, you need to get a big threat on board.
Yeah, this will delay Mountain Giant. But he will be able to, I don't know, just delays Mountain Giant. End of point.
The thing to me, it looks like that Killen just wants to chain together some mid-sized threats and play more of a control the board game plan.
Yeah.
It's hard for Jinsoo to land damage modifiers if you constantly kill everything, and that makes the tempo swings maybe a little bit less painful. This was the game plan that I had feared Killen was going to go for. I think that this is still, you know, a good chance in relative to what this matchup normally has, but I don't think it's his best, especially if he happens to draw the Mountain Giant. Seems like he's put a little bit too much stock into fearing like a prep sap turn along with Faldori Strider or something.
Yeah, and the mental game is Hearthstone. Hearthstone is, well, it's a little bit physical.
Hearthstone is really hard.
It's a little physical, but not very much. If I had to put a percentage to it, maybe 0.5%.
It's generous.
Mostly mental. And one of the big things is getting in your own head about things. killinallday said in his video piece that he was fearing for his Even Warlock. And maybe because of that, he's playing a little bit safer.
Less risky, rather.
Yeah.
I do think that it is an interesting perspective. You know, I used to always be a big fan of when you were unfavored in a matchup or unfavored in a situation to take more risks. And a lot of times that's true, but something I've noticed is that when you're at a disadvantage, that a lot of times conservative play tends to be very strong. It gives your opponent an opportunity to make a mistake, like maybe match your defensive play by trying to go toe-to-toe with you. And when that's the case, the deck with bigger cards is the one that wins. So if Killen can actually, you know, kind of bait Jinsoo into playing on toe-to-toe game, or, you know, maybe he just doesn't have the tempo swings, those are game plans that can work out for him as well. And right now, Jinsoo doesn't have those tempo plays.
No. He does have the Flame Elemental plus Elven Minstrel. Pretty likely to draw him something very impactful, either Gadgetzan Auctioneer or the Vile Spine Slayer, which he's going to need.
Problem turn, though, is if you do that and Hellfire comes out, killinallday's still got a Twilight Drake on board. And so, you know, getting Faldori Strider online, I think, is a really big deal in the matchup as well.
Yeah.
The problem is he's just making that sacrifice almost pretty direct to Twilight Drake at that point. So, I mean, I think this is a really tough turn for Jinsoo and probably the key turn of the game.
One thing to note, though, is killinallday also has a Tainted Zealot in his lineup. So maybe expecting some more Miracle Rogue. You can tell he's an aggressive lineup, so he's trying to target the anti-control this. So he actually has a way to reach all those 4/4s if Cold Sliders come on the board.
This Cold Blood's really smart, too. I think Jinsoo, with this kind of hand, is going to need to apply the pressure. And this prompts killinallday to do something about this board.
Yeah.
But is this maybe the race scenario that Killen's looking for? You know, stick a Twilight Drake to the board, something he doesn't necessarily want to put a lot of stock in Vile Spine and get a Mountain Giant alongside it, and suddenly there's two big threats that Jinsoo has to deal with.
Yep. This is a big matchup for Jinsoo, too.
He's supposed to win this one.
He is supposed to win this one.
It's just right now the draw has not really provided much for him to work with.
killinallday just does not want to play that Mountain Giant.
Well, the thing about it is if he goes down to you know, that 15 health mark, then he unlocks the Hooked Reaver. And he's got the Vulgar Homunculus to go alongside it right now.
And maybe he's looking for a turn where he can play Mountain Giant and Hooked Reaver in the same turn.
It's a possibility. His hand's getting a lot of damage for Jinsoo, you know.
So many options.
You don't want to underestimate Miracle Rogue when it comes to damage output. This is one of the decks that can punish you for playing a little bit too liberally with your life total.
Especially with Shadow Step buried in his hand, all of a sudden Leroy is tons of burst.
Yep, and I'm looking at that Elven Minstrel.
But just awkward mana. He's going to take the card draw first.
Momentum shift here for Jinsoo, so he will be looking for something else to do, and maybe Edwin is it. I mean, you know, the thing about it is killinallday's only got one copy of the Spellbreaker in the deck. He went for that Tainted Zealot and the Black Knight in the technology card slots. And so that Edwin Van Cleef's a little bit more scary. But I think that fishing for Vile Spine, fishing for Leroy, damage seems to be a priority right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh.
Picks up Firefly, which is a great way to get Edwin beefed up.
Yeah, he just needs stuff on board. And this is looking ugly for Jinsoo now. It's been 2 turns in a row of not really sticking something significant to the board.
Still no Vile Spine Slayer.
Killin's not thinking about that right now. He's thinking about, what do I do if Vile Spine Slayer's in his hand? You just saw him draw 2 minions. You saw one of them was Firefly,
You did see one of them was Firefly.
but that means the Flame Elemental's alongside it.
You've seen a Cold Blood, so Skulking Geist all of a sudden has a little bit less value. And it would take up your whole turn. Ogre Homunculus plus Mountain Giant, or Mountain Giant plus Ogre Homunculus.
Possibilities.
We're going by order. Seems good to me.
The turns like these are just the toughest, you know. Killin, he has some reasonable defense to a Vile Spine Slayer just by plopping another big threat on board, but the Twilight Drake's just not applying enough pressure to really be significant.
Well, I guess you didn't tap with that. So it does go down to 15 exactly, so Hooked Reavers are on
This should
line.
be a trade, I think. Yep.
Prep. Only spell in hand is Eviscerate. This could be the one of the largest Edwins we've seen so far this tournament,
And I think
if he so chooses.
I think Jinsoo's going to have to go that direction. His hand is not providing him options right now. You know, 11 cards into the deck, and Jinsoo hasn't seen a Vile Spine Slayer, no Auctioneer, no Sprint.
So we can go Prep, Eviscerate, SI7 Agent, Shadow Step the SI7 Agent,
What do you eviscerate?
play again. I don't know.
Eviscerate the face? I mean, you know that Hooked Reaver's coming up. That's really the thing, too. Is like,
Well,
you go on, if you go all in on the Edwin here,
you eviscerate the Mountain Giant, and then you SI7 Agent the Mountain Giant, Shadow Step SI7 Agent the Mountain Giant.
I think Jinsoo's more interested in isolating the board.
Jinsoo.
So that one's going to be a 12-12, I think.
Yeah, Jinsoo's just pushing for damage here, and I think this is smart because the connection of the 2 minions means that it puts Killinallday on having to have a Spellstone or a Hooked Reaver in this spot, and honestly, that's just his best chance to win at this juncture.
Yeah. But Killin actually has Tainted Zealot Defile to clear the board.
The problem is that clears the board, but you know he did just see Jinsoo basically use his entire hand, so that is, I think, likely the direction this goes.
And then you just roll into double Hooked Reaver.
Yep. He has to trade off the Mountain Giant, but you know he played this slow building game plan so that way Jinsoo would commit resources. If you didn't have the tempo plays, you find yourself in a late game favorable scenario. His conservative play, I think, has paid off this game.
I think the big question is, do you fit in a life tap?
I don't
But
think
no,
so.
you died of Leroy Coldblood.
He's got all the cards he needs to win this game.
Yeah. So Jinsoo needs gas right now. I'm thinking sprint.
Spiders.
Sprint
That's
plus
gas.
Spiders.
Vile Spine gets picked up as well. That's some gas.
Is it enough gas?
Well, it's 2 4/4s versus nothing right now. It's about to be versus 2 7/7s with Taunt. So Vile Spine, if he picks up one more card that can tempo play, that's where Jinsoo can find himself winning the game.
So he's looking at, if Hooked Reaver comes down, Flame Elemental gives him a weird break point.
Oh, because he can trade the Hench Clan Thug
Because
off.
he can trade the Hench Clan Thug off and
So-
push through.
So then he would be relying on drawing a spell that he can use, or a card that he can use.
A card that he can use.
So the
yeah.
cards he wouldn't be able to use would be second Vile Spine Slayer, Leroy, Auctioneer, and Sprint.
The cards that he would be able to use would
The
be,
rest of his deck.
Yeah, but some of those also deal 1 damage. So Fan of Knives, then you don't play the Flame Elemental. Well, I guess you would just get 1 damage to face in that.
Exactly. So
So that is a big break point. By playing the Flame Elemental, he does get a free trade over onto one of the
he doesn't want to take the risk.
Reavers.
4 cards in his deck would result in him having a disastrous outcome.
Yeah.
Versus 2 Hooked Reavers. So I think he's wise to hold it.
All right, well, here comes the Hooked Reavers.
And having to play Elven Minstrel alongside of it, I would consider that quite a disaster as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, losing some of the value just by drawing a card you don't want to use to account for that. But right now, I mean, it's back to like almost status quo where Jinsoo, he's going to have a 3-4 and a 1-2 on board, but pretty much out of stuff. I think Minstrel's key because he can find that Leroy.
Kellen's getting close to Blood River Gul'dan territory. So Jinsoo's window is closing. And this turn feels okay. But not great. You're killing a 7-7 and putting a 3-4 on the board.
Well, I
But
think you're
you-
killing the other 7-7 too. I think you're trading in.
Well, you've seen the Tainted Zealot, so Hellfire doesn't reach everything. And that's the only Tainted Zealot in the list. Wow.
There once was a man from your name.
Now this I'm interested in. Other Faldori Strider. So Jinsoo says, you know what, have your damage this turn of that 7-7. I'm going to kill it with the Vile Spine and try to tempo you with the 8 damage I have on board. This is another brilliant play from Jinsoo as well. You know, he's made a compromise to a bit of his life total, or maybe Killen picked up some value here for the sake of having himself a much better looking position the turn after, and I think that's a smart use of resources.
I don't know, because Killen gets a clear board here, plus gets to develop, and he's rolling into Blood River Gul'dan turn.
I mean,
Jinsoo actually still needs a card to activate Vile Spine Slayer. He doesn't guarantee kill the 7-7.
It's true, but you know, I just don't think he has the liberty to really be playing the game that way. I think he's gonna have to take a risk at this point and hope that the deck provides. I think this was really smart because now he's got, you know, 5 more spider ambushes tucked in the deck.
True.
A string of those is what he's gonna need to win, and I'm seeing Gadgets and Auctioneer and a Colt and a Backstab here. If I'm Jinsoo, I'm going in. I still got 26 life.
Also, since drawing the Faldori Strider, he puts more spiders in his deck to give himself a chance to just blow, like, really just blow out the board state on his side.
1/3 of his deck right now is ambushes.
Yeah, just about. I think he has 5 left.
5 out of 16.
So many options.
I got the best deal.
All right, he's going to try and go off. This cuts off the Vile Spine Slayer, but Jinsoo's just hoping that this is going to be his last board push.
Ambush.
Phantom Knives is 2 additional draws.
Another Backstab. That Backstab his own minion. There's
And
another
a
ambush. I think he's got a Backstab here, but you're not super happy about it. But he's running out of time as well. The ambush animations. Doesn't draw a spell, so it's not a liability at that point. That is a lot of stuff that just got added to the board, though.
Yeah. But
this is why I think that sacrifice for Jinsoo is so important. You look at this board state, and I think Killen's a little bit less comfortable.
So many possibilities.
So currently there is only 1 Vulgar Homunculus and 1 Hooked Reaver, which is a 4/4 in the Demon Pool. So it trades off Blood River Gul'dan. He goes up to 20.
This is the biggest one he can do.
Develops 2 minions onto the board. Jinsoo's just going for a big swing. It's what he's been trying to go for multiple turns in a row. Now Killing All Day has also given up his life tap. So his ability to draw cards is quite low.
Yeah, I mean, the card draw, I think, for Killen is relatively, you know, worthless at this point. I think him being able to kill minions and restore that life total to a safe spot is a very big deal. You know, he's, again, him going for this conservative plan means that he doesn't have the counter pressure on Jinsoo necessary.
So many options.
So he's got to run Jinsoo out of stuff.
Yeah, and Preparation is a completely dead draw this turn.
Well, not completely dead. It activates a combo. You know, I mean, now Jinsoo has access to Prep, SI7 Agent, plus the Vile Spine.
If he wants to empty his entire hand, basically.
I mean, I'm looking at the board, and I'm looking at Jinsoo's
So
hand.
many options. Choose soon.
Who goes there?
Yikes. This is a tough spot.
There's a decent amount of pressure, though.
That's quite interesting to me that Jinsoo chooses to keep his life total higher than keep the 4-2 on board. And I'm guessing it's, you know, it's probably a hedge against Hellfire in this spot. Go, why would I take the damage? But I'm seeing a Hedge Clan Thug, and I'm seeing a way to kill it.
So Jinsoo's deck right now is currently 2 spiders, right?
2
more
spiders
left.
Leroy,
Hunger cruise.
Cold Blood.
1 Eviscerate, 1 Sap, 1 Sprint. I believe that's it, right?
Yeah. So he does have some damage.
I'm missing one card.
I must
He played both backstabs.
now.
Should have been keeping track of that.
So many lives.
Skulking Geist to cut off the cold blood. Oh.
Yeah, that's really interesting to me. So Killen, he's saying here that if Jinsoo uses something to get rid of the Skulking Geist, like a SI7 agent, what that means is that the 2-3 will likely be able to trade in. But SI plus Eviscerate, that's going to cut into that a lot, and I'm now worried that for Killing All Day, this Hunch Clan Thug might get out of control.
Yeah.
That's about to put a lot of damage into Killing All Day.
He does need to trade off the 3-4, though, if he wants to protect the Hench Clan Thug.
So does this play to a Leroy better if he just goes face?
No. Cold Blood's gone. Eviscerate's gone.
Well, Leroy would kill him at this point.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that's what Jinsoo's accounting for here.
6, 7, 11, 12. Oh, it'll be way more than enough.
My hunger grows.
I'm guessing a Doomsayer is probably going to be one of the best bets for killing at this point. Doomsayer thing. Just play stuff and play the Doomsayer. Just do anything to try to grab the board back.
Yeah. But if he plays Doomsayer, he doesn't play Vulgar Homunculus. Vulgar Homunculus. Does he die anyway through Vulgar Homunculus? He kills off the Hench Clan Thug. So he would go down to 9, heal back up to 12. He would still die to Leroy. So maybe this is the turn he takes the risk. But Jinsoo is a 1 in 4 to draw Leroy because he has 1 spider left in his deck, so that doesn't count as a draw.
It's not only that, but it's the fact that Jinsoo's at 26. There's no counter lethal potential in this spot.
Oh, this is smart.
Mitigate
2 attacks off the board.
So he mitigates the board presence.
He's still
dead to Leroy.
Still dead to Leroy.
Not dead to Vilespine, though.
An unactivated Vilespine.
Jinsoo now is 1 in 3 to draw Leroy on the following turn.
But does he have enough with the extra attack from Killing All Day from the Dread Infernal?
So
Well, I mean, Jinsoo's got plenty of life to work with. It's a race against that damage that Killing Day's restoring from the hero power. So, you know, tempo Vilespine here, it's looking like a pretty reasonable play.
But one of the cards still left in Jinsoo's deck is a Sprint.
I mean, one of the cards is completely dead. Yes, the Sprint is completely dead.
Well, if he draws Sprint next turn and absolutely has to find Leroy, then I suppose it's good because you said he has
you're
life
right.
to work with.
That's a lot of life you're paying.
Yes. A lot of life.
Choose soon.
So he can push 7 this turn. He'll put Killing All Day down to 4, which means that if he hero powers up, he's still dead to dagger up Leroy. Even if he clears the board completely, which isn't even a guarantee.
Unless he's down to 4.
Yeah.
He only needs to clear the board completely. He needs to have something big happen.
Mountain Giant is dead.
Yep.
And his Dread Infernal is dead. Jinsoo's a 1 in 3, I believe, to draw Leroy. 4 cards left. 1 is a spider.
So the ideal situation for killing here is Spider into Sprint, Leroy last card, hope to draw a defensive measure.
None shall pass.
He knows there's a Vilespine left that could kill.
Sap looking pretty good here.
Sap Vilespine. Put something on board.
It's just that Killen doesn't follow up the this really at all. I mean, what are the defensive cards left?
Defile. Hellfire. Sun Fury Protector.
Doesn't have a Shroom Brewer left. Use both those.
Nope. The Lich King.
Oh, Lich King. So, I mean, that would be a reason for Jinsoo to hang on to one of these cards, or both of them for that matter.
But this will put him out of range of Leroy being an out.
Yeah, Killen does not die to Leroy in this spot. But the thing about it is this would protect Jinsoo's Spider now, because he has the Sap and the Vile Spine to fight back against that.
Yeah.
This is a much tighter game than I expected.
Curse has become our greatest strength.
There's the Spider.
Sprint.
Oh, it's a sprint?
So his last card is a Spider and a Leroy?
And the way for Jinsoo to activate Vile Spine would be the Sap, which means the Vile Spine wouldn't get value. And if he doesn't play the Vile Spine, Killing All Day lives through the Leroy at that point, because the Spider's not on board. So this is starting to become a big problem for Jinsoo, because the bottom of his deck has panned out in just about the worst imaginable order.
This is the worst imaginable order.
He's thinking about taking the fatigue damage. Does he just die to that?
Wait, you Sap played Vile Spine. He goes up to 11. You have 10 damage. Oh my goodness.
So many options.
Like, just tempoing out the Vile Spine is his best course of action, but then if Killinall's Lich King or Sunfury Protector, he has no way to win.
He's gonna sprint! The sprint results in 10 damage taken!
But he needs the Spider, is what he needs, because he needs the Spider for the damage. Because the Spider is the only breakpoint that allows him to live. He needs 11. If he plays Tempo Vile Spine Slayer, he only has 10 damage on the falling turn.
That's right.
So, but he knows that the Spider's the last card. With Leroy, that's exactly 11.
Spellstone gets drawn! Twilight Drake, Spellstone, Hero Power now puts him out of range of the Leroy. Jinsoo has no cards left, but he has Leroy and Vile Spine hitting the board. So I think this is just GG. I don't see a way out of this. Killen's gonna fall to 7, falls to 6 from the Hero Power, and it won't be enough to follow through, up 2 games to 0 in a crazy nail-biter ending where Jinsoo, an unfortunate string of luck, gives Killing All Day a single window to capitalize, and fortune smiles down on him.
That's a terrible situation for Jinsoo.
I think Jinsoo played that pretty remarkably well.
That was exceptional play from Miracle Rogue. He found the only outs every single turn to get in there.
And Killen,
And Leroy just dodged him.
you got to give
the
credit
whole
to
game.
Killen as well, though. The conservative play and
Yeah.
taking a slow and steady approach to the game and saying, you know what, there's 2 different ways to get lucky. Number 1, my opponent doesn't have a key card, or number 2, they just cannot get the pressure rolling to be able to kill me. And then just that one last turn where he needs Spellstone and pretty much Spellstone alone to stay alive, he draws it and puts himself completely out of range. That is just an insane way to see that matchup pan out.
Yeah, these players are battling, and I love it. This has been a fantastic match so far. Jinsoo, though, has to kind of get that out of his mind, reset, and try and find the win. He's got to win 3 times in a row against Even Shaman. That's going to be a tough thing, but we're going to get into game number 3 in a few moments. Don't go anywhere. More HCT right after this.
On this week's episode of Talkstone. Now it's time for the well played moment, where we talk about our favorite plays.
Our well played moment has to be from HCT Soul just a few weeks back. Taunt Druid versus Shadowwalk Shaman.
Cinderlaw goes with a 2/4 Acolyte opinion that he had just drawn thanks to Prince Keleseth earlier on. Saiyan recognizes this, and he's like, well, I'm not really aggroing him down. He's drawn so many cards, I just gotta go for it here. And so he swipes, and he naturalizes, and he puts more damage in the Acolyte, and everything seems to be going well. You know, the pieces are getting burned.
It was burned.
I'm like, these are
Hex
important
is
cards.
burned.
These are very important cards. But so I was like, everything still works. And then all of a sudden, well played. Boom! Shutterwalk just blows up. And Cinderlaw, you can see it in his face. It's like like rage and fury. Like Sintolal, he's like, I'm done. I can't win. It's over. Just concedes, and it's like it's just insane to watch.
Kind of the perfect way to cap off that intense series with Sintolal burning the Shadow Walk.
Game 5. Oh.
Yeah.
With the developers.
Draw your favorite character in 90 seconds.
Okay. Little known fact, most art in Hearthstone takes more than 30 seconds.
Let's start with the background here. Let's get a nice blue sky in the background. And then let's do some orange, because we're gonna make a mana worm. And I love mana worms as creatures.
As you may or may not know, I do like murlocs. And I was thinking about, what are murlocs missing? And the answer is pets, like a murloc pet, right? I drew a murloc cat. Murloc.
This is just gonna look like a bunch of fruit for a while, and that's fine. You look at any of the masters, they draw fruit, always. This is a bird spell. It casts birds. Not threatening birds, not even a little bit. It just throws tiny birds.
All right, time's up. Does one bird have a smaller bird on his head?
Yes.
That sort of ethereal, pure magic being. And that is a perfect, could go in the game tomorrow rendition of a mana worm.
How do you feel that went?
As awful as expected.
You know what? I don't even need your 10 seconds. Here's the bird of failure. This is what I did with my time. Get out of here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Summer Championship. We are in one of the most intense matches I've seen in a long time. Quarterfinal number 2 of the day, Jinsoo versus killinallday. One of these players is moving on to the semifinals and thus the World Championship. And another one, their road at the Summer Championship ends here. killinallday currently has a 2-0 lead with only even Shaman left. He got the one deck that he needed to get through, and that was the even Warlock through. And Jinsoo, he does have some comfort lineups left. Will he be able to defeat the even Shaman?
Well, that's a really big question, because I think that this is a really tough matchup from Jinsoo's side. You know, he's got a lot of stuff that sweeps out board. He's got a lot of stuff that blows stuff up. But if killinallday is able to land some big threats early on, I think that's when Jinsoo finds himself in trouble. You know, the cards I'm looking at specifically are Earth and Might and Flame Tongue Totem, just alongside stuff on the board.
Just start hitting him.
It's really tough if Jinsoo does not have a Doomsayer to combat one sizable early threat. The deck revolves around that turn 5+ area when you start moving into Dragon's Fury to sweep out boards, large boards at that. Blizzard to slow them down, Meteors to take out huge threats, Flame Strikes to sweep it up.
Stonehill Defender, though.
Buys them extra health. I mean, that's one of the big reasons you see stuff like Stonehill Defender and Raven Familiar even included in this deck. Is just because you just want stuff to buy you time.
You just need something to slam on the board. This deck does nothing until turn 5.
Pretty much.
But now it does, because of Stonehill Defender.
It's a great guy.
Great guy. Known him for a while.
Now, there is another approach from killinallday's side as well, which is to, you know, kind of play it exactly how he did with the Warlock matchup. You take it a little bit slow and you try to get a compounding threat issue. Two big things, one alongside the other.
This matchup's a lot harder to do that because, yeah, Miracle Rogue has a finite amount of resources. When they're out of stuff, they're out of stuff. But Control Mage from Jinsoo's side has Frosted Jaina, Dragon Caller and Alana. How about a Sindragosa or a Lich King?
Some big things. You know, killinallday, he might have chosen to play this a little bit slower as well, just because he had the Merc Spark Eel specifically. So, you know, he expects to see Raven Familiar quite a bit. Just be able to take it out.
Yeah.
Keep the board going. The totems really matter because of Sea Giant. I mean, that is a thing to stress.
Yeah.
That's one of the big threats that he's looking to land.
That is the first point of damage of the game, though. Coming a little bit late. A bit later than we normally see. Jinsoo got Blizzard, Flame Strike, Meteor. He's got the big removal. He's got a Polymorph for a big threat.
And Jaina at the top end. And Stonehill Defender finds a Saronite Chain Gang.
Yeah.
That's the key stuff.
Does he want to make a board full of as much power as he can this turn with the Merc Sparkeel plus the Earthen Might?
This is the critical turn to do it.
Yeah.
This is right into the test for coin Dragon's Fury.
Test for coin Dragon's Fury. Also, he has the availability to perhaps even dodge Dragon's Fury with if he gets Polymorph from his Dragon's Fury activation.
Yeah, that's the kicker to this, is if Jinsoo, had coins Dragon Fury, it's definitely something he thinks about right now. And if he doesn't play it, that means killinallday lands Sea Giant, and Sea Giant is not under threat of that AoE. And he's got, 7 damage now loaded on top of this.
What to do?
With a couple of 2/3s that back that up. So I think this is a pretty strong initiative from killinallday here, just to try to get something rolling and really put Jinsoo to the test.
Yep.
I think it's really important for him to try to force that coin, too.
What to do? What to do?
He needs to pressure every turn because he doesn't want to give Jinsoo the turn to just play Frosted's Jaina. He wants to pressure him enough so that he has to use removal and just always make sure he has a threat in his hand to slam on the board to make sure that Frosted's Jaina is a risk.
Yep. Wise play.
Just takes out the Sea Giant.
It's a Flame Tongue, though. That's a big one.
Almost, there's so many players there that were just Serenite Chain Gang to not take damage.
Oh.
There's so many players.
So many. Shut off the Sea Giant. That's the one that's going to kill you. Play that Flame Tongue. That's the one that's going to kill him. That's a lot of damage coming in. And right now, Jinsoo does not have Dragon's Fury. I mean, that's a big thing to note.
He's got Coin Blizzard, but Coin is so valuable.
It's super valued. Coin Blizzard, it thins the board down to where Meteor is a big hit, but
rolling Blizzard into Flame Strike is also very important. This could be the turn where he goes Serenite Chain Gang.
I was looking at Blizzard into Meteor. I think because it reduces the board to those 3 spots.
I see.
And it still keeps killing off Sea Giant.
It does.
God, these have just been some excellently played games. Hero Power, the 1/1, eat the damage. Blizzard, Sea Giant's 1 point out of being able to be cast. This is just as close as it gets.
I was hoping for the Healing Totem there. Still a turn away from Flame Strike. I like expending one of these Serenite Chain Gangs.
I will say, I am a bit surprised that Killen didn't go with Gen Greymane, just because it's pretty close in relation to size. And you're not really super vulnerable to Meteor at that point. If your opponent Meteors, you pick up 6 damage. But maybe that's what Killen wants. He wants to, chip away at Jinsoo and have him keep himself at risk.
Yeah.
I wonder.
It is right into a Meteor turn, which would roll right into a Flame Strike turn. The chip away damage, honestly, the more I'm looking at it now, the more I'm kind of looking at the board and going, I don't know if Jinsoo's got time to really sit back and relax. This may be enough to force a Meteor still.
Yeah. He's got Jaina into Alexstrasza to maybe try and heal him back up, but that's a ways off since Coin was used.
Yeah, I think he's got a Meteor. The more I look at this, that just cuts a lot of damage off board, but there's still 5 sitting there.
Doesn't take out Sea Giant, though.
No, it does not. And that now is suddenly becoming a real problem as well. So, that's this 5 damage chips away. Sea Giant hits the board, and Jinsoo's got he can't just Flame Strike at that point and take 8 damage. He needs to polymorph the Sea Giant. And then what that means is that 5 damage hits again. This is a really bad spot for Jinsoo.
And then killinallday just plays the Lich King.
This chain of thrites just might end up killing Jinsoo.
We saw this happen yesterday with Turna. They just played Even Shaman, just played a totem, and
now Dragon's Fury is the card that could save Jinsoo.
But it needs to pick up.
It has to hit the Flame Strike.
It has to hit the Flame Strike.
Then that's it. There's 1 Flame Strike left.
There's still a Polymorph, a Dragon's Fury, a Blizzard, a Meteor. That's it. And then the Flame Strike. So 1 and 5?
If he just polys here, he takes 5 more damage and falls to 6, and Lich King's hitting the board. That doesn't look like a winning scenario.
Yeah. Flame Strike's a 1 and 5. Or sorry, Dragon Sphere is a 1 and 5 to hit Flame Strike. Jinsoo's a guy that really relies on odds. He'll only make that play if he thinks it's his only chance to win.
I'm looking at Arcane Artificer, Polymorph, and Hero Power as the alternative.
What about Serenite Chain Gang?
Time runs out on me.
Serenite Chain Gang looks like you're going to take 10.
What to do?
Dragon Sphere, a 20% chance to remove things.
So he feels like if Killing All Day stumbles for one single turn, that he can get a better clear. And frankly, I agree with him. If he struggles for one single turn. The other thing, too, is that this Arcane Artificer demands attention as well.
Yes.
So that's 2 extra life he buys.
Agatha is also a big deal.
Yeah.
Again, I referenced the Turner game from yesterday. Even Shaman versus Control Mage. He got Hagatha, and he just kept generating value. And eventually just picked apart the damage. But in that game, his opponent did not have Frosted Chain, whereas Jinsoo does. So if he can keep removing...
Look at Kill's hand. It's just a bunch of threats and anti-magic shell. So now Jinsoo... The Voodoo Doll... I don't know
He's
if
going
this is
for it
enough.
right away.
That's very quick. Oh!
The Dragon's Fury. That's a full board clear.
That's smart. That's really smart.
Yeah.
Whatever's in my head, it just blocked that as a possibility.
There's no way he would go for that play that fast if he was just killing the Lich King and leaving 5 damage up on the board with the Lich King cards to threat.
That was the thing. I thought for a minute he was just crazy.
And that is the perfect turn to have that clear happen because Frosted Chain is lined up and Killing All Day's got to find a way to reload on this board.
And he has ways to do that.
I'm thinking just Totem Up, Serenite Chain Gang, Anti-Magic Shell.
What to do?
It's the most power he could possibly put on the board going into a Frosted Chain.
I kind of just want to Flame Elemental him.
Fire Elemental?
Sorry, yeah, Fire Elemental him.
I was going to say a 1-2 is probably not that great in this situation.
Yeah, no, that's bad. But if he just puts damage onto Jinsoo, he's got Argent Commander plus the
What to do?
Anti-Magic Shell afterwards. So that's 6 from hand that he has with that. Killen still feels like he's in a great spot right now.
All right, well, this still protects against Frosted Chain. How much burst can you expect from Jinsoo?
You mean in Jinsoo's spot?
In Jinsoo's spot, how much burst do you expect to come out from Killing All Day's hand? What's reasonable?
I think what's reasonable is Argent Commander and then Direwolf Alpha / Flame Tongue Totem.
Do you know there's a Lich King card?
Alec
Wasn't
here.
played this turn, though.
That's true, but you know that could still be Frostmourne.
I mean, there's so much range, right? It goes anywhere from 4 damage if he just has
Obliterate.
an Argent Commander.
There's so many things it could be, but honestly, is Jinsoo going to win the game if he doesn't play Frosted Chain?
11 plus 6?
That's
17?
That does kill him. That does kill him. Because that's 4 from hand, plus 6 on the board, plus the 7 that's stuck.
That's more than enough. Way more than enough.
Wow. Killing All Day with the Lich King is going to find himself taking a 3-0 set over Jinsoo and moving on to the top 4 and a spot at the World Championship.
What a performance.
That was some strong play from Killing All Day, but we will celebrate him in a second. I want to give my hat off to Jinsoo here as well. I think he played an exceptional tournament, and I think he found himself in some troubled spots and made the best of it at every single step of the way. This is not the last you're going to see at Jinsoo.
Not at all. Almost perfect play from him, but at the end of the day, Killing All Day with his aggressive lineup, finds his spot in the World Championship and in the semifinals, and right now he's waiting on stage with Korra.
Our second 3-0 sweep of the day and our second World Championship qualifier. It is Killing All Day taking it over Jinsoo. Oh man, the crowd loves you. How are you feeling right now? On top of the world?
On top of the world right now. This is everything I came here to do, just qualify for the World Championships, and I did it, and I'm so happy right now.
I think, honestly, a lot of us are maybe a little bit in shock. We thought that it was too good to be true. You know, you had a really rough last couple of years, and then you just, you hit it big on the first championship event. Did you ever think that this was going to happen?
Oh, no way. You can never just predict something like this. So much has to go right. I had to get top 8 at playoffs off tiebreakers, had to win there, had to win against really good opponents here, and it's just something you can never predict or expect to happen. So I'm so excited.
Well, and this is after a 9th place finish at playoffs and a 10th place finish at playoffs. You were so close on 2 separate occasions. Coming into this matchup, however, you said, you know, a lot of things have to go right. You were maybe a little bit unfavored. Jinsoo could have been a really difficult opponent for you, but you ended up 3-0 sweeping him. What was your strategy coming into this one?
I just wanted to have a clear mind and make sure that I play the games well and win in unfavorable matchups, because I knew I would have to do that to win the series. And once my Warlock beat his Rogue, I knew I was really close to getting there.
Yeah, I think that was the definitive point where the Tavern started to get really excited, because that was a tough one. The Spellstone off the top, the win, so clutch there. Final question, is there anything you want to say to the YoCad Nation and all your fans out there who are rooting for you at now the World Championships?
Thank you guys so much. It means everything to me.
Well, the year of Killin' All Day lives on, because Killin' All Day is going to the World Championships. He's joining A8360, who has already qualified. But we've got 2 more players who are going to be joining them, so let's send it back over to the caster's desk and get our next match underway.
Thanks very much, Cora. You know, something that you can never really predict, unless you're me.
Well, I mean, if you predict the same thing over and over and over and over again, eventually it's going to come true.
That's my strategy.
It's a good one.
I know.
Worked
That's
out pretty
why I
well.
do it.
Now, trends have been panning out pretty well today. So far, if you have 5 numbers at the end of your name, it's looking good for you. You're a Killin' All Day, that's looking good. Now Guidan, first South American representative of the World Championships. I'm just saying, it's all been panning out so far.
I'm just not looking forward to the day where people start trying to make hashtags out of their own names in order to try and have success in Hearthstone. That's going to be a rough one. But that matchup's in the books. 2 3-0s on the day. That's admirable.
It's crazy. I was going to mention the hashtag snack time with TJ, you know, just kind of shots fired at your own statement there. But
whoops.
I digress.
Yeah. But we still have plenty more action. 2 more quarterfinals to go, semifinals and finals. We still have a champion to crown. But coming up next, we have another player from the Americas as a whole.